All right, good evening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Toonkind at 12 frames per second called Call and Answer. I'm Kraken. I'll be playing a wizard warlock, Craigory Danthew-Dovran. Who's with me today?
Hi! Currently someone who's incredibly flustered. Fuck you. Fuck you. I love you.
Have not.
Hi. I'm Whirlwind Gale, aka Gale, or Whirl, depends on who you ask. And I am here to be playing, He Who Funky Warlock Bird,
Mm-hmm.
Lethy Beckford.
I meant what I said. I'm excited to play with you. So this we agreed it's kind of like the night after Hey Little Songbird. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And more specifically, it's like the witching hours. It's nobody is awake. Well, then again, this is Halloween Town. Quite a lot of people are probably awake, honestly. But the
But
manor
it
is
is
quiet.
still fuck off o'clock in the morning.
It is, yeah, there we go. It is fuck off o'clock in the morning. Craigory should be sleeping. He's only just been getting back on a quote unquote regular diurnal sleep schedule, but he had like a few hours maybe, and he's not eager to go back to that. He had a bit of a nightmare after the events of the previous day. And you know what? For fun, let's roll something on that. What do you
Oh,
figure? Wiz
fun.
save.
Whiz save sounds like a good idea. Probably.
Cool. All right. So already that's a 5 + 4 is 9. So it's not the worst, but he's very definitely not eager to be going back to sleep, which has had him now summarily wandering Macabre Manor.
Mm,
Which,
as you do.
as as you somewhat recently do, he look. The first few times this happened, he did not leave his room because this was not his house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's getting more comfortable here now. He deserves to wander at fuck o'clock in the morning.
Listen, sometimes comfort is shown in the ability to wander around the house at fuck off o'clock in the morning without feeling nervous.
Exactly, and like just being able to do what he likes and go where he likes when he likes in a big fancy manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's at right now. He's just wandering and trying to not think about much.
Mm-hmm. Honestly valid. Um Can you roll me perception?
Absolutely. Oh, good, 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 good. Double check the modifier on that, but yeah, all right. Have an 18.
18, damn. Yeah, okay. So as Craigory is wandering around in the manor, which is probably pretty quiet at night, usually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Kara is the type of house to, spook people awake by making house settling noises that sound like the house is falling apart, like some old haunted houses do. But I get the feeling like the night after all this shit went down, gonna be fairly quiet. Um,
Kara is mischief. Kara probably also has a bit of a okay, we'll give everyone one night.
yeah, just give everyone a night's rest. That was intense. Just, we had a chase scene, we had a heist. Not necessarily in that order.
But ultimately, it was a success, and that's what matters, and now we just don't think about it.
Yep. Um, but hey, in the spirit of not thinking about it, um, as Craigory is wandering through the halls, he starts to from somewhere relatively close by, kind of, uh, he hears a familiar singing voice and a familiar song. Not quite the one that was used in that game. Okay, let me try to sing on recording. This is gonna be fun. Um, hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Everything will be alright.
Uh-huh. Well, he changes trajectory and he's going to follow the noise in a way he had never been able to all the other times he heard that voice.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, with an 18, he can pretty much just track that.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to be quiet about it. So, for funsies, let's roll stealth as he comes up.
Roll stealth. Roll it at advantage, given that the person you're trying to sneak up on, I guess, isn't looking for you. Or anyone.
Alright, well, advantage is good because that gives us a. Okay, 16.
Let's see, what's her passive? Oh, her passive actually beats that.
Ha! It's not a bad effort, but, you know, he's basically just trying to, when finding the room, peek in and go unnoticed. Oops.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, you're looking for a room. But it turns out the source of the voice, is from someone who is similarly wandering the halls to you. Um, and, you try to be sneaky about it, and you make a good effort. You do damn well at trying. But those eye spots on Lethy's wings when, you enter kind of her space, those two main eye spots immediately snap to track your movement. And she'd been looking at some kind of painting on the wall, and she kind of blinks and says, "Oh, hello."
Hi. It's Lethologica, right?
Yes. But call me Lethy, it sounds friendlier.
Fair enough. Didn't know what you'd like to be called. How you doing?
I'm doing... It's not as heavy here. How are you?
I'm all right. Can Craigory roll insight?
Sure.
And gets an 8.
Bless.
He doesn't know this person.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. With an 8, Craigory, honey, you can't really catch much. As far as you can tell, she's fine. She probably shouldn't be out of bed, but she's standing, so you assume she's fine.
Huh. Well, she, at the very least, does she seem clearer headed than she was?
With an 8, yes!
Even as I asked that, I remembered, oh yeah, Asclepius can't really do anything with, like, destroy poison or whatever until daybreak. So yeah, Lethy's probably still fucked up a bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Just a
Cool.
little bit high. It's
Great.
fine.
Uh, right. Listen, he kind of he's going to reach into hammer space. Let's do that quick. Fumbles? Fumbles. Where is that
Dramatic
sheet of his?
moment. Fumble.
Fumble.
God, I love hammer space fumbles. They're great.
God. All right. Craigory reaches into, like, you know, on like those dorky striped pajamas, there's that like one pocket at the chest. He reaches into that, pulls out, well, pulls out a dagger with a really nice handle and just kind of goes, okay, kind of right color. One second. Hold on.
And she just blinks at that like, that's a knife.
It sure is. And
Just blink.
four.
Blink.
Fumbles again. Swaps the knife to the hand, reaches in again. And gets. He reaches in, and a few bees come out.
Lethy waves to the bees.
They just kind of swirl confusedly in place before going off to find the nearest window. Kurt's like, yeah, hold on. Okay, with a 6, he reaches in again and actually gets what he wanted, which is a red earring. She's like, listen, I know you technically said to keep this, but also, no offense. Didn't seem like you were in the clearest state of mind, so this, I didn't mean to take it from you. I mean, I didn't.
You didn't take it from me. I lost it. You found it.
Yeah, the point remains that it's technically yours.
No.
What?
I know my creations well enough to know when they've attuned to someone else. And besides, it suits you well.
All right, I wanted to make sure. And having heard that confirmation, he is going to, yep, wear it. Also slips that knife away up a sleeve.
Just tuck that away.
Just tuck that away.
She kind of blinks and says, if you'd like, I could teach you how to use it.
Actually, yeah, I couldn't figure out what it is, because there's clearly something going on here. I'll be real. I thought it was some kind of ancient thing that had lost a bunch of magic, but you would have made it recently?
Yes, time is funny. A while ago. A few weeks after I started working with my dad. It's and I'm gonna have her roll something. Where's my history modifier? 14. I'd say that's good enough to remember where she first heard your voice. She kind of blinks and then looks up at the ceiling, looks at the walls, and says, you know, I've never been here, but something tells me this isn't the best place to have this conversation. Would you like to go somewhere else?
What sort of place? I don't know. What sort of place would be a good place to have it?
Well, it's So the function of that, and she points at the earring. Well, in order to learn it properly, you have to feel safe. And she just kind of trails off on the and.
Might get a little tricky on the first one. What? Okay, safe and what? Lethy?
Uh, well, this place is similar to the place I first heard you.
A bit. I didn't want to say it to anyone, but yeah, a bit. Like very, very different styles. Very
Different
distinct
styles,
aesthetics.
but yes. I don't know how I mean, I've never been here before. Anyway, I do know a place that can be good if you'd like to come with me. It's about as unlike there as I can imagine.
All right. Okay. Like. All right. Okay. I'll just we could do that. He's going to. Yeah, 10. He just pen and paper out of hammer space. I would just give me a moment to leave something.
Of course.
Let people know where I'm going. Both going. There was a whole panic about you just yesterday.
Oh. And she just kind of blinks at that.
Yeah, your dad and Lynn were very worried about you. He's going to write that letter and do another insight because, like, as far as he knows, Lethy as a personality is perhaps just spacey, but this is starting to be.
This is starting to be a little oddly calm.
Yeah, this is oddly calm for someone who just got it there. All right, 13. He's improving.
Improving a little bit. What can I tell you with a 13? Well, there is the fact that she's still under the effects of poison and truth serum a little bit. And, it seems like she's doing fine in terms of, like, being able to move and shit. And she seems to, at the very least, be able to hold a coherent conversation. Her reaction times are a little dimmed, and with a 13, there is something else there that you can pick up that there's something else there from certain comments she's made, but you don't quite know how to phrase it yet or how to piece it together yet.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically put together a really quick note saying, with Lethy, we're going... looks up. Where did you say we're going?
Oh, just out to my barn in the woods.
Barn in the woods. Yeah, that's probably enough information.
She hands you she shows a thumbs up.
And let's say it's a budded plane. Craigory folds it up and is just going to send that off for Lynn to find in the morning.
Gentle yeet.
Gentle yeet. The same window that some of the bees escaped out of, he opens it up further, leans out, and tosses it. Will the barn make you feel safe as well?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's one of my favorite places.
Okay, that settles that. Lead the way.
And she kind of cocks her head and smiles a bit and says, "How familiar are you with transition walking?"
Should he roll Arcana for that? Or history?
Arcana or nature, I think, because it is kind of a toon biology thing.
Okay. Yeah, alright. Transition
18.
walking.
Yeah, you would know
Knows
with an
of it.
18 that...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
he
basically
might have a little
thing
trouble
where...
doing it personally himself, but he certainly knows what it is.
It's basically just a thing where, you know, some toons are adapted so that they can move very quickly. Or not even necessarily move quickly, but essentially lose awareness of time between walking different places as long as they know exactly where they're going. And therefore just seemingly appear in different places with after a certain amount of time has passed without seeming to have lost any energy.
Definitely not
Which is
something
fun.
he's built for, but he knows of it. So, yeah, know of it. I take it that's how we'll get there? Okay.
I'm particularly good at it as far as I can tell. And she kind of offers a hand.
And he will take it.
And there's a kind of weird feeling as you take her hand of just sort of, you can feel magic sparking under the porcelain that makes up her fingers. But there's kind of no time to consider that, as there's almost a feeling of, okay, I don't know how best to describe this other than, you know, vertigo? You know that feeling of just extreme vertigo of going upside down on a roller coaster?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like you're suddenly put through a loop-de-loop, and then you are no longer inside the manor, you are outside, in the woods, in front of a big old barn. Very abandoned-looking barn, actually.
I'm gonna say he has to at least stumble upon arriving.
You alright?
Yeah, wow, okay, you were not kidding.
Kidding about what?
Being good at it.
Comes with practice, and the genre. But, yeah, here we are.
Okay.
And she's just gonna start walking towards the barn.
Craigory will follow, and he's gonna roll perception because, you know, he agreed to this and whatnot, but where the shit is he? 19!
That's
he is...
fair.
Okay, actually, that's a dirty 20. He is fucking seeing.
He is perceiving.
He is perceiving, and he's a little anxious about it.
Mans is in a new location.
Secondary locations. He's had this talk, but he's also let people know where he is. So, everything's solved, right? It's an improvement.
Yeah. And you can definitely tell with, you know, unnatural 20 that you are still in Halloween Town. Like, by far, this is still... It still has Halloween Town's vibes.
The trees
still has the
are
same...
just like that.
Yeah, the trees are like that. There is that art style. There is the clouds overhead that are slightly obscuring the moon. There's, you know, the slightly spooky ambiance. But there's also a different vibe in this place that, you know, yes, it is still Halloween Town, but also this place feels older? Or at the very least, as old? And it feels... Again, I don't have a good way to explain this other than it feels like a secret place. It feels protected.
Perhaps the sort of thing he might not stumble on unless invited.
The kind of thing that you don't find unless you know where to look. As for kind of what the area looks like with an unnatural 20, you've got the big old barn, which, you know, on first glance it would look to be in a state of disrepair, but as you look, it's kind of actually very solid. There's a lot of overgrowth over the outside, but it's also, like, the building is clearly very strongly standing. There's a little pond off to one side, kind of closer to you. And there are some ducks in that pond that Lethe, like, pauses to say hello to. There's just a bunch of little ducks in the pond that she just pauses and says hello to. The doors of the barn are peckin' huge, man. Which might explain why Lethe just looks at them and says, yeah, no, I'm not opening this side today. Because no. Yeah, it's kind of what you would expect from a barn. It's got, you know, the big doors up on the second floor for the hayloft, and a little yard off on the opposite side to the pond, which seems to be where Lethe's heading.
Well, he's following and he's watching, and in mimicking Lethe saying hello to the ducks, he actually casts Speak with Animals and also says hello. Just monkey see, monkey do, be polite.
One of the ducks quacks back at him and says, hello! You're a stranger! Hi!
Yes, I am. Good guard duck.
My name is Fred.
All right. Nice to meet you, Fred. And then he has to hurry off because Lethe is probably just still walking.
Yeah. And Fred just goes back to swimming around.
Duck things.
Fred goes back to committing duckly acts.
Dare we say, some DuckTales.
He's engaging in the creation of DuckTales. But you guys circle around to the side yard and circle around to a sort of door in the side of the building that's a lot smaller, and that Lethe is going to roll hammer space to pull the key out of her pocket for. Perfect. She reaches into her pocket, pulls out her key, and slips that into the lock, opens the door, and heads inside.
And Craigory follows after one kind of last look around.
And I need to grab a map, because I made a map of this place.
Map.
I'm proud of myself. I made this for fun, but I made it anyway, and it's great.
Map.
So yeah, you guys are coming in from the side yard, and it's really dark in there for a moment. But then Lethe, like, claps her hands, and, God, how did I describe prestidigitation from her? Basically, there's this kind of golden dust that seems to follow Lethe around at all times. And some of it just kind of concentrates and pools in her hands, turning into a sort of bright spark of light, which she then just tosses into the air, and it splits off and lights a whole bunch of different lanterns in the room, casting the room in a very warm, cozy, orangish light. And she just kind of smiles and says, welcome to the Bon. It doesn't have a name yet. And she just kind of looks around and just says, everything's exactly as I remember. Good. At least that's not fading. Anyway,
So, did you find this place or build it or?
Yeah, I basically found it. I was I was looking for a place to work on my antique restorations and whatnot, and my jewelry making. And well, I went past the junkyard, past the train tracks, and she just kind of trails off for a moment, trying to figure out her words again.
Craigory is giving her a concerned look. It's really starting to become clear to him, even without another insight roll, I think, at this point. Just, yeah, whatever Thrall did to her is not fully worn off. Oh boy, keep an eye on that.
I went through the junkyard, past the train tracks. There we go, got it. And well, I followed a sort of path into the woods, and then I found this place. It was a little rundown when I found it, but I fixed it up and, well, started bringing stuff in. And she kind of gestures at everything.
Okay, so like a workshop. I guess this would be where you made this? Sort of taps the earring.
Oh, wait, where's my mic? There it is. There we go. Yes, I made that one right over, and she kind of like does that thing where, you know, someone will like spin looking around a room, and then she walks over to the furnace area, or to the workspace area, and just says, right over here.
Which is all a bunch of equipment Craigory is probably personally unfamiliar with. He's never made anything like this himself, so it's all new, kind of fascinating. If he ever comes back here, he'll certainly be looking at everything in more interest, but at this point he's kind of more just keeping an eye on Lethe herself.
Mm-hmm. You're free to roll insight again, because she kind of does get a little distracted and just kind of loop around the workspace a bit.
He's getting better. 17.
17. There we go. That's something. Yeah, so that thing you noticed about her being a little spacey, that's not normal. You twig that pretty easily, just that, yeah, no, this is not normal behavior. But spacey isn't quite the right word for how she's acting. She's acting dreamy. Like, her movements seem not sluggish, but a little too flowy, and at the same time a little too abrupt. Like she's just doing things as she thinks of them. And the way she's wandering around this place is just almost like she's checking to make sure everything is still there. And with a 17, a couple of the comments she's made are starting to click together in your head. Specifically stuff about, I've never been here before, I don't know how, and trailing off from there. And, oh, it's exactly as I remember it. Good, that's not fading. You can do with those as you will. But she's actually kind of wandered off and is going towards a set of stairs on the other side of the barn.
Which, Craigory, having had a think about that, kind of shakes himself and trots after to catch up. Hey, listen, when you look like you're checking things, but when you're done doing that, is there a place you could sit down?
Oh, that's where I'm going.
Okay, good.
And she will lead the way up into the second floor. Which, again, I have a map.
Map. Hey, loft.
Hey, loft.
To which there is a big nest.
Yep. Does Craigory follow up?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, so Lethe leads the way up these stairs, kind of leaning a bit hard on the wall, which is interesting. But she leads the way up the stairs, and at the top of the stairs, there's a little bit of space kind of where the stairs let out. And then there's just the middle of the room, which is completely encompassed on a slightly raised platform, just a metric fuck ton of pillows. Just, dear fucking lord.
Craigory has never seen this many pillows in one place in his life.
No, he hasn't. There is a lot of pillows and a lot of blankets, and the first thing that comes to mind is bird nest.
Well, he cuts a glance at those wings that have been folded up, and yeah, all right, that tracks.
Mm-hmm. And Lethe just kind of walks over to the nest. How's Craigory doing?
Are there railings on this hayloft?
Yes, there's a railing.
Okay, good. We're OSHA compliant. That's one less worry off the list after having seen her have to lean on the stairs to come up. So basically, he's going to stick right beside her, but as long as she's staying away from the edge, he's not going to, like, reach out and support.
Mm-hmm.
But, this looks comfy. I think you could probably stand to, sit down. This looks like good, yeah, please sit down.
Second. And she will kind of probably give Craigory a bit of a heart attack, because this is a hayloft, and to get hay into a hayloft, there is usually a pair of big doors that lead out to the front of the barn, in the middle of it, and those are there here, but they're closed right now, and so she's kind of just going over there and undoing the latches to open them.
No, that's the opposite of sitting down. Lethe?
She kind of doesn't respond to that, and I'm gonna need to make a strength check to see how well she throws those fucking doors open.
God. He is hurrying over. He is ready to grab her if need be. They just got her back. He doesn't want to have to tell Raph that he let his kid splat.
I mean, she's fallen out of that window before and been fine. Don't worry about it. But
he doesn't know this. Birds have brittle bones. She's not fully in her mind at the moment.
She's not. Bless him. And dex save. No. Let's try that again. 3. Oh no. God.
Oh.
So she manages to undo the latches, and she goes to push the doors open, and they give a little easier than she was expecting. And she kind of teeters on the edge for a hot minute there.
Oh, good fucking lord. What does he roll to catch her arm?
Probably dex?
Yeah. Okay. A 13 is probably acceptable.
Yeah, no, 13 is fine. Because the DC was 12, so yeah, 13 is fine.
There is a very scary moment where he thinks he's just going to miss, like he reached out too soon and he's just going to come shy, but thank God, nope, extra reach, wrist, grabs her wrist and is just pulling back, like, let. Okay, that is an edge. That is an edge. No, 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 no.
Oops. Thank you. That was an accident.
It could have been.
And she kind of blinks and says, usually those are harder to open. Anyway, and she just kind of, has he let go of her wrist?
No, he is not. He is going to be steering her back into the middle of the damn pile.
Valid.
The doors
She
are
just
open.
lets herself-
Congratulations. They have a view and a breeze.
Exactly. That was the goal, is just fresh air. It can be stuffy in here. And she does kind of mention that as they're going. She's just, those are usually harder to open, but it gets really stuffy up here if they're not open. So I was trying to open them because sometimes it gets really hot. And hot is uncomfortable. I don't like being hot.
You know what? Hot is uncomfortable. Though, I will say, being south again, the heat is nice. Were you ever cold in their manor?
Yes, hot and cold all the time.
Oh, okay. That's concerning to Craigory, because he was a little chilly all the time. there was no warm.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to sit down and pull Lethe to sit with him.
And she just does kind of very easily get pulled down. A little too easily, honestly.
Yeah.
She just kind of flops down. She has her wings tucked around her like a blanket.
See, now it doesn't seem like the greatest time for him to ask more prying questions like, no, but for real, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just going to think for a moment, go, might not be the greatest time. You're still a little out of it, if you aren't aware, I think. And it was really recent, but I think I'll just throw it out there. You don't know me, but if you'd like someone to talk to about Thrall and where you were and what happened, I can be that. I can listen. It helped me to have someone. It's helping me to have someone who went through something similar and knows. So that's just, it's on the table.
Craigory?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a very confused look. And Lethe just kind of blinks at you and says, what's a thrall?
That the should he roll like history to remember that she has mentioned a Matthias, or
You can roll history.
well, he got a 6. So he just looks and goes, the person who kidnapped you, like, did you just never see them? I don't know if that's better or worse.
I wasn't kidnapped.
Yeah.
I
We had to rescue you.
I think, am I getting stories confused again?
I don't know. You know what? Back up.
And she-
We're going to back up. How about I just... I don't think anyone's asked you yet. No one's had the opportunity. What happened? How did you get to where we found you? What happened?
Well, and she kind of blinks. And she does that thing again where she holds out a hand and some of that gold dust concentrates into her palm. She kind of flicks it out in front of her, and there's sort of a firework-like burst. And then there's almost a little puppet show in glowing golden dust in front of the two of you. Um, where basically, first you've got kind of a scene of a hospital room, where you have Raph laying in bed and Lethe sitting in a chair next to it, and she says, "Well, it started after the case with the case where my dad nearly died. We don't think about that. Um, and I had run out of reading material from the hospital library because I had read most of it already. So I got up and in the little glowing golden puppet show, Puppet Lethe gets up and transition walked to the Toontown Library to pick up some books from the history section. And as she narrates, the scenes that are playing kind of transition to show what she's talking about. I had picked up some book on some war or another. Can't remember which one. When I was approached by someone, a stranger. And in the illusion, there is a silhouette of someone Craigory has probably seen before, having been working with the thrall.
He's seen that disguise, yes.
Mm-hmm. And they were excited when they found out that I could read quickly and translate everything I read. Because I have an Eldritch invocation called Eyes of the Runekeeper, which basically translates everything into my first language, Echo. And Echo is a lot more concise than your average written text. So it's a lot easier to read a lot of things quickly and comprehend them faster. Because it's basically like just downloading all the knowledge right into your brain. But they found out that I had that ability, and, well, they needed help with translating something, so I agreed to go with them. They just asked me to come along, and I went with. And we went to the, and she kind of blinks, and I'm going to have her roll history, because fever brain makes your perception foggy.
Mm-hmm.
18. She's still doing pretty good. We went to the back of the library to the reading rooms, into one of them that was a little more private. And apparently they're a changeling, because they shapeshifted back into themselves. And they apologized for deceiving me, but you know how it is. Sometimes tropes aren't kind to people whose designs are more shady looking by nature, which actually can lead to a lot of my clients getting in trouble for things that they didn't actually do just because they look mean. So of course I perfectly understood. And then they used a teleportation thingamawhatsit. I still don't know how that works. And brought me to their place. And then and she does kind of pause again because yet another history roll. Yeah, she is starting to get a little more distant, but she's still going pretty strong. We went into the library. They tested my reading on something to do with the luck trinity, I think. Sorry, it's a little hard to remember.
You're doing
And
good.
then we went down into their archive, which is really, really pretty. They have so much knowledge. It's great. It's a wonderful way of preserving things and keeping them from being forgotten. And then, and one last history check. 21. Oh dear. So you're free to roll insight on this, but her eyes kind of do get a little clearer. And she frowns and she says, "Well, I wandered around their archive for a bit. I read some stuff for them. Kind of lost track of time. I was very excited. There was so much information. And some of it was so old, like pre-erasures old. It was incredible. But at one point, they mentioned, oh, it's getting late, and they offered to let me stay the night, which was very kind of them. But I didn't want to worry the investigator, so I said no, and I tried to leave. I tried to go home, because I can transition walk. It's really fine. And I didn't want to worry my dad because I had just kind of wandered off without telling him where I was going. I told him I was going to the library, and then I disappeared for several hours. Oops. Um, but then, well, I stood up and I must have given myself a really nasty head rush or something because I just had the worst headache. And it was bad enough that it dropped me to the ground. And, in the sort of puppet show that she's putting on to display the memory, you see the puppet representing her drop, and then the illusion dissolves, and she says, well, after that, they took me upstairs and gave me a room to stay in, and unfortunately, I just haven't gotten better yet. They're still working on a cure. I'll be better soon. Hopefully. Or, who knows, I might be gone already.
Letty, I'm gonna need you to roll an insight.
Sure thing.
God.
That's a 9. I'm sorry, she's not
It
focused
makes
right now.
total sense. But, like, Letty, you've spent a long time feeling sick and unwell. Your new friend is looking sick and unwell himself. You don't know why.
She doesn't know why, and she's just gonna kind of look over and be a little concerned and just grab one of the blankets and put it around his shoulders. You now have a blanket on you.
He does. He has a shock blanket because he is fucking horrified.
I would love to know into the thoughts of Craigory, but unfortunately I have rolled a 9.
You have rolled a 9. He just, as far as Letty knows, this just looks like someone who's about to be sick. I think. Thank you for telling me. I think. I think I'm going to have to remember that enough to maybe pass it on if you aren't feeling well enough to later when you're better, which. Oh god, and he scrubs a hand down his face.
Are you alright?
No, not all right. Not all right.
What's wrong?
You were lied to. To put it shortly, and maybe you're. I don't know if to just leave it there because you're unwell and it's their fault, but might not be fair to just drop a whole bunch of nasty stuff on you while you're like this.
She's confused.
Look, Matthias is not your friend. They weren't helping you.
They were trying. It wasn't their fault that some things didn't work as well.
Oh, it worked exactly as well as they wanted it to.
What do you mean?
Letty, you've never been sick like that, right? Never ever? Before this?
And she's going to roll history. Not that I can remember, no. That's probably why it hit me so hard. My immune system hasn't gotten a chance to get used to that sort of thing yet.
No, if anything, it should be the opposite. Letty, God, you weren't sick. You went to leave, so they figured out a way to keep you. And like, God, no wonder if you can read things quickly and translate them into another language, would then be able to back translate into something they can understand. Like, God, that makes a lot of sense. That's horrible.
Permission to roll insight again?
Yeah, absolutely.
$16.
16. This is someone who's trying to stave off a small breakdown of his own for the sake of someone else, because like the point is like Letty's not in a state of mind to either A, understand, or B, if he could convince her and get in her head, like, God, it's just not a good time. But at the same time, he feels like he can't just let her continue thinking that this was fine. Letty with a 16 gets that Craigory also knows Matthias, her friend, her buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Craigory is not friends and buddies with Matthias at all.
No.
He is scared of Matthias.
Oh dear. With a 16, can she gauge how honest he's being?
Yeah, I would say so. Especially in the profession she's in, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone
and
who's
he's being
very
honest.
Scared of this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She kind of blinks and kind of sits back a little bit. She is going to pause and reach into hammer space again. That's an 8. She pulls out a thermos and a couple of cups and pours out a hot beverage. I don't know exactly what kind of hot beverage. Kind of smells like apples a little bit. And she's going to offer Craigory a cup.
Yeah, he'll take it. He kind of like gives it a sniff and inspection before he drinks from it.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing in it. It just kind of tastes like spiced apples. The reason I say I don't know what it is because it's based on a drink that I had when I was younger, and I don't remember how we made it. I just remember, or I don't remember what it was called. I remember that there was a powder that we put in stuff, and it made it taste like warm apple cider, but also like some kind of tea, and it was really good.
It's apple juice. Directly to forehead.
It's warm apple. Maybe don't apply this juice directly to forehead, because this is hot. Hammer space and its ability to keep things warm, my beloved.
Mm-hmm. But
and
it's
I'm
good.
Gonna have and it honestly has a very strong kind of spicy, like not spicy as in hot, but spicy as in spiced.
Yeah.
Taste that is kind of a grounding wire.
Yeah, and it does help visibly calm him down some. It lets him collect his thoughts because he had been starting to spiral a bit there.
Mm-hmm. That is a 9 on an intelligence check. And that's Letty's ability to tell certain things. You're free to roll insight again as she's trying to puzzle something out, and she's going to be quiet for a minute.
Damn, this boy just keeps on getting a little bit better every time. 17.
17. I think 17 is enough to finally put together the pieces that Letty has been kind of accidentally letting slip. Specifically because she also just said, who knows, maybe I'm already gone. She doesn't realize she's been rescued. She thinks she's dreaming.
God. Yeah, which Lethy gets to see Craigory kind of like gently smack himself on the forehead. He's like, yeah, God, he had that too. He should have been able to recognize that sooner, surely. Hey, Lethy, can you look at me?
Oh, yes, of course. And she kind of blinks and looks up and meets his eyes.
This, what's around you right now, it is real, for better and for worse. You're out of Matthias's manor, which means you're going to get better. It also means that you're going to learn some really unpleasant things about that and about them. And I don't think it's fair actually to keep you in the dark about that. So this might become a quote unquote dream, which becomes not very nice.
It's all right. I'm no stranger to nightmares. And she kind of doesn't comment on the this is real comment, but with that 17, there is kind of a grim set to her shoulders that's just, yeah, she's heard that before.
Mm.
She's had a lot of dreams like this before. Admittedly, you're a new factor, but
Yeah.
and she is kind of babbling this out loud, because, haha, babbleweed is fun.
God, it sure is. He's just
You're a
going
new.
to put a careful hand on shoulder.
And she just kind of blinks at that and says, I don't know how I'm imagining you. I never saw you. I've never even heard your voice properly. I've heard you screaming before. I didn't know why.
Yeah, that's
They
kind
did
of.
that to you, didn't they?
Yes. They did, and it's just because they didn't outwardly hurt, they kept you there. You would have left if you'd felt healthy and not pressured to, right? You would have left, and I mean, they removed Kirsten. They reinforced that. Letty, listen. Matthias is not their real name. It's a name they use sometimes, but they're known as the Thrall, and yeah, they have a really impressive archive, which could do a lot of good. And good bad. The point is, they're a trader and a collector, and someone who's able to parse information like you is invaluable to someone like that, and someone who just got really, really unlucky with family and just had to do what he was told was incredibly useful as well. I'm sorry I didn't realize you were in trouble or there. I had no idea.
And she kind of blinks and says, it's not your fault. We were never in the same room.
No, but I could hear you.
And I could hear you. Do you blame me for not seeking you out?
I mean, what? You were probably out of it worse than you are now, so I guess not. Like, what did you think was going on?
And she kind of, there's kind of a visual moment where her eyes do clear, and you can tell she's kind of realizing, oh dear, okay, we are in the real world. Okay, process that. And she kind of runs her fingers over the blankets that are underneath you guys, and she says, I thought you were a ghost. Or I thought that at first. And then they told me you were a hallucination brought on by fever.
God, they would. I thought you were, I don't know, a recording they'd put on. They have a pretentious but definitely not bad taste in music. I thought you were just something that was put on to play because I didn't think it was possible anyone else could be around.
Certainly not in a good enough state to be singing.
No. Yeah, that as well. It didn't feel like it could be, you rationalize it away. It was just, you have a nice voice. It made sense in my mind that it was a professional recording.
Thank you. I hope it helped in some way.
It actually kind of did. I didn't think it was a real person, but it helped me feel not alone. I'm sorry I scared you.
You didn't scare me. I thought you were a ghost, but I know the difference between someone who is screaming in pain and someone who is screaming for violence. I know the difference between somebody who is crying because they are hurt and someone who is crying because they are trying to make someone else uncomfortable. And I will never be afraid of someone who needs my help. And I couldn't do anything. As much as I wanted to, by the time I started hearing you, I was not able to move. That wasn't fun. But I thought the singing could help. It's always comforted me to have music when I'm upset. I thought maybe I could help out. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. And you don't have to be sorry for not thinking that anyone else could be there, because you had perfectly good reason to assume such.
I also really didn't want anyone else to be there. Like, horrible that it was already me, but, better just me than have to realize there was anyone else. I would have tried to do something. I was already forbidden from the West. I was already forbidden from your wing, but I would have figured something out. I was always able to figure something out.
I'm glad that you didn't think I was there then. Because God, I can tell when people are lying, It comes with the profession. You have to be able to pick out inconsistencies, contradictions. You have to be able to see people's tells. You have to know when someone is lying. You're not lying. You're not lying to me, which means they were. And
it means they were good enough to lie to you at all.
Well, now therein lies the therein lies the design flaw, and she kind of does snap her fingers a little bit and then wince and shake her hand out because ow, cracks, ow. Therein lies the design flaw. I want to trust everyone, and I was told that they needed my help, so I didn't question them. I just wanted to help, and I always assume the best of people. I assumed they were helping me, and I will be real with you, I am a little clearer of mind now than I have been for a while. I'm probably going to wake up tomorrow morning and not be sure whether this conversation actually happened.
That's fair.
Um,
I can just help confirm it. Whatever you
but
need, as many times as needed. This is being out, getting out is it's scary and it's disconcerting.
those are definitely words for it.
But
I don't.
you don't have to do it alone though.
Thank you. But I believe you. I believe what you say, and I don't think you're lying, and dear saints, once I'm in a better headspace, that is going to click a lot harder than it is right now. I am very lucky that I am. Anyway.
Yeah, that's when it does. I mean, obviously, there's your dad. You know, Lynn. I'm kind of still working through it myself, but I can be a resource. You don't know Lucille, but there's someone who's been a help to me. There's options, and you're safe here. And Thrall really, 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 really hates Halloween Town, but they also won't enter it.
No wonder they didn't want me coming back.
Yeah, exactly. God, yeah, letting someone like you slip through the fingers. No. God.
That's what the screaming was at the end there, wasn't it? When we were moving and
They were very. They were angry, and I knew they would be. But it was worth it because I already left you behind once.
You didn't know I was real. You didn't leave me behind. You got yourself out.
It doesn't change the facts that you were still there, but you know. It's all fine now.
It's not fine, but
I mean, in the sense that they can't, as long as you stay here, they're not going to get you. I have my own measures in place for me. Okay, maybe not. Things will be more all right.
we can do recovery measures. Reparations. That's the right term, I think. Yes? No? Maybe?
Sounds
What
legal
is
enough.
it called? Well, then, I'm doing my job properly. She kind of laughs at that and takes a sip of her cup of drink. Unspecified apple drink.
Mm-hmm. Spiced apple.
Mm-hmm. Spiced apple coziness. She kind of looks out up at the stars and says, that should have been the first indicator, shouldn't it? I've never dreamed stars before. I admit I just never paid attention enough to them to be able to remember what constellations were. So, in my dreams, whenever I looked up at the sky, they weren't there.
Huh. That's it's one way of doing it. The way I usually tell when I'm not in a dream is books and clocks don't work right.
Unfortunately for me, that one doesn't work quite as well. And she kind of reaches into her pocket and pulls out a pocket watch and clicks it open. And inside, there are numbers, but no hands, and the clock face glows brightly with a faint pulse like a heartbeat, and it doesn't tick.
That is weird and strange. Can Craigory roll Arcana?
Sure.
Because he's to me like, what the fuck is that?
Roll Arcana, wizard boy.
Unnatural 20.
that's enough. So, hmm. Actually, in conjunction with that, roll me a quick history or religion, your choice.
I think the modifiers are the same for both. History. Okay, no. We'll take religion. Craigory may not trust the gods at all, but he knows about them. Oh, yeah, he knows about them. Take a 24.
Yeah, so with the 20 and 24, you basically realize a couple things in quick succession. Number one, hey, Lethe is a warlock. And number two, specifically, she is a warlock of Memory Lane. Because you've done reading on lots of topics and have read about Memory Lane and read about retrospect warlocks. And they all have a similar pocket watch, which can act as a spellcasting focus, but that's not its primary function. Its primary function is, in a way, to house their soul. Like, it straight up holds their soul inside it.
Which is an absolutely bonkers thing, and his eyes go wide as he recalls that in rapid succession.
And the thing about that is that that pocket watch never ticks until the person is dying.
Well, he's very, very glad it's not ticking. And, with those rolls, I think he also then mentally connects the out loud countdowns Lethe was doing in Songbird. Lady Retrospect, huh?
Memory Lane.
I mean, yeah, alright. Huh. He has never seen one of these watches before. He is just obviously has been closely examining it to partially to get those scores, but also upon realizing that, this is this is some soul shit, he's also leaned away a bit to give it space.
And she kind of snaps it shut and slips it back into her pocket.
I guess you always know what time it is?
She kind of laughs and cocks her head and says, currently it is 3:22 in the morning. So, yes, I do.
That's a way better party trick than anything I got.
Well, it has its ups and downs.
There's quiet for a moment as they're in the blanket nest. Then Craigory shifts. I know I kind of made it heavy, and it's going to get worse later when it's able to process and whatnot. But if you'd like to take your mind off it for a bit, you did originally take me here to learn a thing.
Oh,
something
yes.
About that earring?
Yes. Do you like languages?
I do.
Cool.
He specifically has the linguist feat.
Cool. How would you like to learn a new one?
Fantastic. All right. I guess that's that echo thing you were talking about with how they got you, and also, yeah, Lynn mentioned it a few times. Echo.
It is a touch-based telepathy language. The reason for the earrings being created, or the earring, I think if they haven't closed my room at the hotel, then I have another one in the safe there. If they haven't given my hotel room out to someone else. Because, God, I don't know how long I've been gone. That's a terrifying thought. Anyway, off of that, and she kind of claps her hands together and then winces and says, I need to stop doing that.
Would mending work?
I have no idea.
Don't think it'll hurt you to try. Can I? And he's just gonna hold out his hands because technically the rain. Oh, that's message. Hold on. Yeah, mending is touch. Just gonna hold out his hands for Lethy to put them in if she would like.
And she will.
Yep, so repairs a single break or tear in an object, and there's potentially a lot of cracks running through here, but it's also a cantrip. Craigory can keep on doing this as long as he likes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is, like, as you get a closer look at her hands, the porcelain is cracked to shit. You know the cracked glaze effect that was really popular on pottery for a while back in, like, the early 2000s?
Yeah.
It's that.
He kind of sucks a breath in through his teeth and winces because, go. Hand injuries. Injuries that impair your function hands. Yeah, alright. Yeah, he's familiar with that. He would definitely like to be able to help. So, yeah, he's putting a mending into those. And he's just going to probably keep on doing that idly as this conversation continues.
Mm-hmm. I will say that the mending does actually help, but not in the way you might expect. Because unfortunately, when you heal injuries, especially injuries that are old, they do still leave scars.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, as he is casting mending, the seams between those cracks in the glaze turn from sort of a dark off-white color to gold. Similar, actually, to the cracks further up on her arms that create a sort of winding, almost ladder-like pattern. You don't know what those are about. But yeah, that's fun. And she does kind of blink at that and say, oh, that actually feels a lot better, thank you. Anyway, language time. Echo time. I've taught people this stuff before. I'm good at this. So, right. Touch-based telepathy. The reason the earrings work is because they essentially create an extended range point of contact. Essentially, by putting a hand on the earring, or for my friends, I usually make friendship bracelets. Pieces of jewelry that have bits of glass on them that attune to the wearer's favorite color or color of their magic, if they have magic. And by putting a hand to that piece of glass, the person on the other end that you are trying to contact, presumably their piece of glass is in contact with them, which means that you are, in a symbolic sense, still in physical contact, which allows the language to transmit long distance. It's proven very helpful in the past, which I am glad for.
Explains why Raph was explains why he was not happy to see it was not with you.
It hasn't been with me for a while. I lost it when... Well, the second time I got hit with that headache, actually. I had headaches a lot when I first got there.
Sure you did.
The next morning, I tried to leave. Again, I tried to like get up and get ready to go because I was feeling better by morning. And then I got up and immediately went down. And when I woke up, my earring was missing and couldn't find it anywhere. That made me sad.
Craigory's hold actually tightens on your hands, and looking at you with some scrutiny. That's sounding like psychic damage, and they did remove a geas from you. That... Okay, that's making some sense.
And she
It
kind of
says,
blinks at
"Don't
you and
leave."
looks
You
a little
try to leave, you
confused.
go down, it reinforces that you're sick, which makes... Bastard. Sorry,
It's alright, I've heard worse.
you can continue.
But anyway, the reason you haven't probably been able to figure it out is because no one's taught you how to speak Echo yet. Which makes sense, because I'm the only one who I know of that knows how to teach it. There might be other people like me out there who can teach it, but I sincerely doubt it, because I've done some research, and apparently it's a very rare language. Apparently it has something to do with a certain set of gods. I don't know. I kind of stopped reading at that point because that was a little too baffling for my brain.
So you don't know how you know it?
No, I've just always known it. It's my first language. I just... Gods. I don't know if Lynn's told you that story, but when I first showed up, that was the first language I knew. Common is second to me, but it's what I speak because everyone around me speaks it. And speaking Echo out loud can have unwanted consequences.
I thought you said it was purely touch telepathy. How would you say a mental language aloud? Can I hear it?
And she kind of laughs and she says, I mean, I can try. And she kind of blinks and looks around to try and like look for something to say the name of. And she eventually, her eyes settle on a pillow and she opens her mouth and no sound comes out, but you get sensation all over. You get sensation like on the back of your head of a pillow pressed to the back of your head and, you know, against your arm or under your legs. You know, there is a sort of a litany of associations that pop into your head of just, pillow, softness, feathers, squishy, comfort. There is the smell of what the different pillows in here smell like. There is sort of a mental image of the exact pillow that Lethe was looking at.
Blink, blink, blink. Okay, I see what you mean about Echo being a very condensed language.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot all at once.
No kidding. And that was just a word, or more accurate, that was just a concept. Stringing together concepts to make a sentence to get meaning and context? Wow.
And she kind of blinks a moment and says, what's that one phrase that everyone uses to test handwriting? And then she opens her mouth, and there is a mental image in your head, kind of done in a similar style to the illusions Lethe did, but instead of being all gold, it's in full color, of a little brown fox running in a circle and then jumping over a dog that is taking a nap on a rug. As she has basically said, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
She sure did! And Craigory's laughing.
That makes her smile, because yay! She made him laugh!
Huh. Okay, alright. So it's not so much... Yeah, okay, so it's getting across concepts with the senses through touch telepathy, or in this case, symbolically. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And she nods.
Who is this connected to? Taps the earring, so that I don't, just kind of put at everyone.
Gosh, who have I given connections to? Lynn has one. I gave her a bracelet. My friend, My best friend Phasmus, it has one. Obviously my dad has one. That's his necklace. Um, and oh, I gave one of my clients one. Mr. Gibbs, he was very friendly. Oh, well, actually he was kind of a jerk, but I made him friendly. I am very stubborn and very persistent and very optimistic when I want to be.
Yeah, I'm getting that sense.
And eventually, I'll have one of my own again, so you'll be connected to me as well. And it's a little more complicated than I let on because, well, speaking long distance or speaking at all is tricky. And that's where lessons come in. And she kind of like taps her fingers against his wrist and just says, "Would you like me to show you?"
Yes, please.
All right. And she shuts her eyes, and I need you to roll a wisdom save.
Oh boy. That is an 8.
Okay. So it's not painful. I will make that note. It's not painful because she's intentionally being gentle. But it
Baby's
does
first
send
echo.
it sends a fucking shudder down your spine because there's sort of a sensation in the back of your head as a mental image of a door is created and there is a little knock 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 from the other side,
Ah,
which
okay.
is a weird thing to just have appear in your head.
It is, and this wisdom check makes complete sense because he feels a door into his mind and someone, not trying to, but with intent would like to get in, and nice wisdom save. His defenses immediately are up.
And the presence on the other side of the door does pull back. And Lethy kind of winces and says, that's why safe environment is important.
So
You all right?
Yeah, so it just startled me. It felt too familiar. It my patron likes to poke their head in unwanted when they can.
Ah, that's rude.
Yep. So I feeling a new unknown connection. That startled me, but it's just you, so that's fine. We can try again.
Just me. You're all right. And she kind of does shut her eyes again. And there is, again, that polite knock.
Does he need to roll another will save, or can he just decide to let her in?
He knows it's coming, and he is aware of what it feels like now, so I think it's fine.
Yep. He's going to answer the door.
And there is a sense of greeting. Just sort of. I don't know how else to phrase it other than, it feels like the feeling of someone being happy or excited to see you. And then, essentially, Lethy introduces herself in Echo. So there is the mention, there is the memory of her saying, over, because, she says this a lot, so she has a very clear mental image of what it sounds like of, "Hello, my name is Lethologica Beckford, attorney at law." But that's not the main thing. The main thing is there is the sound of rain on a rooftop. There is the ticking and clicking of clockwork. There is the smell of wood polish and old paper. Um, there's the feeling of sand over your fingers. And there's sort of a warm, hazy, golden afternoon glow.
Haha. That's an... Yeah, that sure is an introduction. And he has no idea how to do this. Attempt a sort of mental wave back.
Roll intelligence.
Boy, oh boy. Well, that's a 7.
Craigory, you're a wizard. How is your intelligence modifier that low?
To be fair, I didn't check. Yeah, it's +3. Listen, he's got a 17 in intelligence.
Bless his heart.
It's his
You
highest
attempt.
stat. What can I say?
Gods, okay. You attempt to wave back. You do get across the feeling of welcome pretty well, but is it fair to say that Craigory's a pretty fast thinker?
Yes, his thoughts can get very quick and they can race.
Mm-hmm. And this has been a hell of a conversation. So your head's kind of running.
Yep.
So you managed to get across hello, but there's also a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with it that just makes it clear that, okay, there's a lot on your mind.
There's probably snatches of, worry, residual fear, whatever's going on from the nightmare, thinking about, the future and next day and worrying about Lethe, worrying about Thrall, worrying about Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Worry.
And there is kind of a moment where Lethe's wings, her feathers ruffle up a bit, and you can see those same sort of diamond-shaped eye patterns appear on her feathers for a moment before they close again, and she sends a message of her own across of kind of just an attempt to calm and soothe, just comfort, just, hey, you're okay.
Probably gets back the sense of realizing that he's outputting all that and gets back the concept of basically, oh shit, sorry.
You're okay. There is kind of the warm glow of amusement back, but in sort of not in a mocking way, in more of a, oh goodness, alright, this is gonna be fun type way. And she just kind of smiles and says, why don't we start with something like your name? Echo names are very important because when you're talking to a new person, you have to basically give and she repeats basically what she gave when Craigory first opened that mental door of, hello, my name is. And how you come up with your own echo name is basically you take your name and you take yourself and you pick out, I think for starters, we'll just pick out what are some of the main things you associate with yourself?
Craigory has to legitimately think about this. Lethe could roll insight if she likes.
Absolutely. Lethe is a very insightful person. Where is my plus? There it is.
Yeah!
24!
That's the stuff.
She's got her head on relatively straight right now.
Lethe gets, especially because right now they're kind of in it, this is someone who's had his sense of identity really shaken up recently. And he's actually actively kind of working on rebuilding how he thinks and sees himself, in a sense. So this is actually proving kind of tricky. Trying to find definitions that don't retroactively sting. Stuff he would have taken pride in earlier is now taken a sour tone. I'm a wizard.
Okay.
Sort of. Still.
That's a start.
I'm a dad.
Mm-hmm. And I will note that you might have a bit of a fun experience with this because Echo is a fun language because while you're speaking it, your memories and your mental processes are kind of thrown into hypervisual gear.
Mm-hmm.
So, as he's mentioning, I'm a wizard, I'm a dad, memories of things that he associates positively with those I am statements will kind of flash through his head as images.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is kind of a weird one. Might not apply, but it's I am mine. I am me. It's weird.
It actually translates really well into Echo. Um, and Lethe kind of blinks and is just, oh, that sentiment actually fits really well.
Oh. Huh. That's nice, actually, because that's been something I've been having to reinforce with myself. So, might take a bit, but I am mine.
And she does smile at that.
He's trying to think of at least one more thing. This became a bit more of an existential crisis than he necessarily bargained for, which is great and fantastic.
And Lethe kind of laughs a little bit and says, well, if you need a bit of a pointer, from how I understand it, you're a very kind and very strong person.
I mean, I like to be. I like to try. I like to think I am. So, okay, so they can be concepts more than things, if that makes sense. I think part of Krieger's trouble here is he's been thinking of, like, what he is in terms of what he does or what he can do.
Mm-hmm. And Lethe would kind of notice that after a minute, and she says, it doesn't have to be just who you are in the story, who you are, what you do, etc. For example, and she essentially says her own name in Echo again, and you'll notice that the only mention of some of the most important things about her in what she does, in that, I am a lawyer, I am a restorationist. The only mention that she is a lawyer comes from the memory of her saying, hello, my name is Lethologica Beckford, attorney at law. And the only mention of her being a restorationist comes from memories of holding tools, of using wood polish and paint. But the rest of it is stuff that isn't necessarily about what she does or who she is, but rather things she feels represents her, like sand through an hourglass, like rain on a rooftop, like the light of a gas lamp.
Okay. So Craigory kind of turns his thoughts more in that direction, and kind of what ends up coming out next is along the lines of, hello, my name is Craigory Peckneck Danthew-Dovran, and I am an experimenter and a wizard. And sensations that then come across are probably stuff like, you know, when you hold your hand really close to an old TV and you get that like static, warm static effect. There's that. There's light through stained glass, light reflecting through it, specifically kind of, yeah, a red stained glass. And actually waves on a shore.
So Lethe is absolutely fucking beaming at Craigory right now.
And notes that he's probably been like physically eyes shut to concentrate. Just goes, am I doing it?
You're doing amazing. And as she says that, it is something that is kind of layered. It's a statement that's said out loud in common, but it's also layered over with echo. And there's just the glowing feeling of happiness, of pride, of understanding, of connection, of just. Honestly, there's a sentiment there that is best summarized as, there you are.
Me just realizing, oh wait, introducing yourself in echo is presenting a mood board.
Essentially, yes. That is basically what it is. At some point, I need to do a thing that I've been wanting to do, which is just editing together what an echo name would technically look like. With a video editor, but yeah, basically, you're doing a mood board of your you.
Okay. Yeah, It's kind of like everything else about me right now. It's a work in progress. I mean, I may as well figure out an echo name while I'm busy tweaking my literal design.
And it can always change, you know. I mean, mine has changed drastically from when I first knew it. It's a lot more sensation based than it used to be. It used to be very visual. But I've found that I'm a more tactile person and I can communicate feelings better than I can communicate images. And she kind of demonstrates by giving kind of the mental image that translates to a tactile sensation of sort of rain pattering over your skin.
Good sensation.
All right.
Huh.
You said you like to experiment, so I want you to try something if you're okay with it.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, find something in the room and try to describe to me what it looks like. Or try to say its name to me in echo.
Okay, Craigory looks around. Lethe's already done pillow, which, you know, it's the cheap shot. They're fucking everywhere.
There are so many pillows. You can't walk 2 steps in this room without hitting a pillow.
You can barely walk one. They're in the middle of a nest.
Yeah, this is Lethe's nest. This is her safe space.
He's looking around. I'd say, like, probably the other thing that's in this nest are blankets. So... Blanket. What is a blanket? If he had to... Okay. By all 5 senses, how is a blanket? So he's going to try and send being warm, having something heavy pressing down on you in, you know, the nice weighted blanket way. It's downy feathers. It's sitting in front of a fire with a warm drink. It's good texture on the arms. It's whispers from staying up late with someone in a pillow fort.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of hums and then sort of taps her foot against one of the blankets that's on the floor around them and says, "This?"
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And she smiles again, and her wings do fluff up in just the "Yay! I got it right."
I think the final thing Letty would have got that also is just fucking sleepy. Blankets are for sleeping.
Nap time.
Nap time.
Yeah, you're getting the hang of it.
Yeah, good. Good. Yeah, it's an interesting language.
Mm-hmm. It gets a little more into the weeds when you try and transmit complicated messages. Um, I mean, it comes naturally to me because this is my everything. Everything gets translated through this when it reaches me. But I've found that for other people, it's trickier to send a message than a word. Um, but one of the main things that I've found that it's useful for is it can help a lot if you're somewhere far away and you need help. So,
I could have really used this then a bit back.
mhm,
Because yeah, it's on you. You don't need to do anything extra, right? You just touch the jewelry,
mhm,
which takes a lot less thought than casting something, and even a complete novice can transmit danger,
mhm.
panic, fear.
And there is kind of a warm glow of an attempt at comfort again in your head. Just, hey, you're okay. We're in safe place. You're all right.
I gotta admit, having something like that, it's a comfort.
Glad.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for being willing to learn.
Of course, I think it's kind of a crime to be not willing to learn.
And she kind of smiles. And yeah, that's a nice sentiment. A certain thing happened during third nickel FPS that did shake her a little bit up about that, but it's nice to find people who again be around people again who are just like, "Oh, this is a cool and useful thing," like, and not a "stay the fuck out of my head."
I mean, she'd gotten a little bit of that from Craigory, but that was just surprise and associations.
Yeah, that was just reflexive action, not "don't fucking do that again."
They Gucci now.
Yee. And she kind of does pull back a bit and say, "Eventually, when I get my own earring back, I have a backup, you know. Earrings come in pairs. Um,
Good.
when
Yeah,
I get that,
I'd hate for you to not have anything.
yeah, no, I made two. I just didn't wind up wearing them both because they came out uneven. And if I'm going to be asymmetrical, I might as well do it in a way that doesn't intentionally unbalances my design rather than only slightly to the point where it's just who didn't flip their sketch."
I mean, hey, look at me. I make asymmetry work. Gestures to kind of all of him at the moment. which eerie
You do, and
and
you carry it. You do. You carry it very well. I don't. I have learned this about my design. I do not carry asymmetry well.
well, there you go. I'm glad this works out then.
Mhm. And I'm glad that it likes you.
Yeah. I think it is at this point. He, surprising himself, cracks a huge fucking yawn.
And Lethy kind of smiles at that and says, "We should probably be getting back."
Yeah, yeah, that could be an idea. I mean, I did send a letter to Lynn letting her know about a barn in the woods, but you know, just, there's no need to panic anyone unnecessarily.
I didn't tell my dad where I went. I wasn't aware I was awake at the time. Oops.
I mean, I feel like there's some leeway for that, but yeah, I'm saying from experience, people are going to be very, very aware of where you are at all times. It's going to be a bit stifling, but they're just looking out for you.
Mm. It's going to be a new experience, but life is full of those. I'm only a year old. Everything's new.
Only a, okay, it sounds like you've had a lot happen in a year then.
Honestly, it's been mostly over the last month or so.
Huh, yeah. Eventful. Well, just means that you have a whole bunch of years in life ahead of you to make this just a little blip. So, come on. Let's head back.
And I have to roll one last thing as Lethy is trying to get up. And this is at disadvantage.
Ooh.
5,
Ooh.
and that's an 8.
Both bad.
Yeah,
What's a 5 do?
yeah, so you say, "Let's go," and she tries to get up. It does not work.
Oh dear.
She's got fucking jello legs, unfortunately.
Oh god.
She tries to get up, and there's just, nope, we're going back down.
Oh, okay. Uh,
She
Craigory
kind of
had
just
gotten up
frowns.
himself and just would you like help getting up or I
Help
mean,
would
we are in a
probably
bunch of
be nice.
I could help you up or we could just stay here.
Staying here would be nice, admittedly. um, Sleeping in a bed is hard.
Yeah, bedridden? Yeah, okay, that decides it. We're staying here. And he sits right back down and he's gonna grab a bunch of pillows and fluff them up behind him.
And Lethy will kind of just scoot around a little bit and pull together a bunch of blankets and pillows and whatnot, and they're already in a nest, but she kind of just builds a little section to bury into.
Nestception.
Nest 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yep. Craigory's gonna grab a blanket and if Lethy hasn't like gathered her own, just throw it over the lump she's making.
And she kind of just laughs at that, like genuinely like laughs out loud in a sort of startled manner, and she's just, Ansa, I have them built in, and she kind of flaps her wings a little bit. Because, she's buried enough that, anything that would be immodest to show on daylight television is covered. She just flaps her wings and she just says, "I've got them built in."
Fair enough. There's also no such thing as too many blankets, I feel like, but to each their own. He, meanwhile, has grabbed like 3 and he's piling them on.
Honestly, perfectly fair, to each their own tastes.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of smiles and says, I'm glad that I got to actually meet you.
Yeah. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad we met. This was good. And thanks for inviting me here.
Of course, you can come here whenever you like.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
All right, if you say so. I know workspaces can be personal.
That's true, but, well, I like the sounds of other people's voices.
Yeah, you know what? That's a point. That's a point. That's a point. That's a point.
Just maybe be careful with the chemicals in chemical storage because some of those are dangerous. I mostly use them for rust removal, but they can be used for other things.
I have never been uncareful with a chemical in my life.
Insight check!
Please do!
24!
Oh, that is the first outright lie you have ever heard Craigory say.
And she just kind of squints at him from over the top of her pillow pile.
What? Totally safe, yeah. But yeah, no, I won't go rustling through any of your stuff. It's your workshop. Point is.
And she kind of smiles and then yawns and says, Good night.
Good night, Lethy. And he has just burrowed into the softest pile he could muster. There is not a sharp or cold corner here. This is just pure soft fluff.
Yeah, no, there is enough stuff here that has been acquired and accumulated while this nest has been being built that you could fucking bury yourself halfway down in this stuff and there would still be enough of a layer of blankets between you and the floor to act as a fucking mattress.
He has basically done that, and he is, it's been long enough, and he's basically out like a light.
Mm-hmm. They both are.
Nice.
Do we want to end there?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, goodness. That was so much fun. Thank you for playing with me.
Thank you. Oh, this is great. They're friends.
They're friends!
They're friends.
And Craigory has an open invitation to come to the barn whenever he likes.
Ah. He'll need to figure out how to get to the barn on his own, but...
They'll figure that out in the morning.
Yeah, that's a morning problem. A lot of things are a morning problem.
Yeah.
First things first is, hey, if you can stand, let's get back to the manor so we can fucking unsick your person and you can have a breakdown about it.
Yeah. She's gonna have a time with that.
Yeah, and Craigory will definitely offer to stick around for it if she wants him.
Oh, bless his heart.
In the meantime, I think I can stop my recording. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yee. Good night, listeners!
Good night.